Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire Geek, and it's time to review Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 6, Bounty. And it's called that for a reason. Jingle jangle. There's a lot of that in this episode. I did enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it as much as some other people that I've seen on the internet waxing messianic about it. But anyway... this one was directed by Dan Liu, who directed the previous episode. It was written by Christopher Monfett. Right, let's just get into it, shall we? Right, we start off, as usual, with the Star Trek Cinematic Universe logo. I don't know. But let's just get on. And we have, as previously on... Jack takes out all those changelings, doesn't know how, we knew there were changelings, something wrong with him. And then it just kind of gets explained away when we start the episode. Oh, there's the changelings that he kills. It's also to show us that Starfleet, is infested with changelings, it seems. Right. This is Raffi and Worf. They've got to get to... Daystrom Station to find out what was stolen apart from the portal weapon. But anyway, all right. And we had previous episode. We had Commander Rolaren coming on board the Titan from the USS Intrepid, which is there, and we found out that she knew about the changelings, and the changelings knew about her, and so they planted a bomb in her shuttle. So she manoeuvred the shuttle close to the Intrepid's port warp nacelle, and the shuttle blew up, killing Rolaren, we presume, because they couldn't beam her out because of transport inhibitors, and disabling the Intrepid, which is also infested with changelings apparently. At least the command structure is. That's that. And then what happens? All right, then we start and we see the Titan drops out of warp, and then we see this. There you go. It says on USS Titan. I'm lying. It hasn't dropped out of warp. We see this. It looks like some sort of probe or something. It turns out it's a transponder from the USS Titan. And we see lots of other ships drop out of warp. There we go. There's one. Then we see some more. I don't like this, by the way. Do we see what ship that is? Is this the Intrepid? I can't. Just bear with me while I have a look. Can't really make it out. Can't make out that writing. Can't make out what it is. I'm sure somebody will know that's watched it in super duper high definition. Is it available in 4K to stream? I don't know. Not for me, it isn't. So we see that ship. That ship drops out of warp. Then we see two more, I think. There we go. There's another one. Kind of, I don't know, a little bit, a mixture of Sovereign and Excelsior class, by the looks of that one. I don't know what that one is either. And then we see another one, which, has shades of... which way we're looking at this now? We're looking at them from below or from above? I can't really tell, to be honest. I think it's from above. That one kind of has shades of, the Miranda class. But it's obviously not, because its warp nacelles are on the top. But there we go. So these have just appeared. I hate it when they do this. I don't know whose idea it was. Because it just smacks of... Well, it smacks of Discovery or Battlestar Galactica, where they can just jump to any point, either just dropping out of warp, stopping on a dime. I'm sure I've seen it in a Star Trek, either episode or film or whatever. I've seen it somewhere. I'm sure it's Star Trek, where they've said, these ships don't exactly stop on a dime, or words to that effect. I've seen that somewhere. But now they do. I don't like it, where they just drop out of warp to a dead stop. I know we saw it with the Picard manoeuvre, didn't we, in that episode, The Battle. But that was just like a quick warp, sort of like at warp 1 or whatever, from one point to another, pretty close. So it just looks like it's moving really, from one place to another. But that's just like a short hop, innit? These have like probably been going at warp 9 or whatever, and then just boom, drop out of warp, dead stop. I don't like that. Oh, sorry, that'd be a 0.1 off if I were doing that again. By the way, this isn't a 10 out of 10 episode for me. I think for a lot of people it might be, but not for me. I did enjoy it, but, you know. Anyway, so there we go. So these 3 ships have arrived. They're obviously being commanded by changelings. So they found that the Titan is dropping these transponders and then warping out in a different, direction every time. So, they can't track down the Titan straight away. Right. And there's another one. Hang on, let me go back a bit. Is this the Titan dropping another? Or is this the Shrike? Yeah, this is the Shrike manoeuvring to have a butcher's hook at it. And Vadic's not happy. Yeah, she is. She's not happy. Another thing, I'm sure she's a lovely person, and she's a fine actress. I just don't like Amanda Plummer. There's something about her. I'm sure she's a lovely person, but I don't like her acting style. I wasn't that keen on her in Pulp Fiction and other things I've seen her in. She doesn't have presence to me, and same here. She doesn't have presence. She might as well not be there. In my opinion, but we've got a lot of people do like it. It's just me, but anyway, she's not happy. And one of her subordinates, by the way, I don't know why, because they're all supposed to be changelings. So why are these other subordinates, these weird aliens that we don't know who they are, speaking in a different language? I don't understand. Maybe Terry Metalis can explain, or maybe he can just call the fans dumb. Again, like he did on Twitter a few days ago, and I think he's since deleted that tweet, but I saw it. There we go. This one's telling them what they're doing. They're jumping to warp at infrequent intervals in different directions, blah blah blah, and it because it kind of goes against Vadic, and so she has. There we go. She has this other one. Shoot him. We're going to see that now. In a moment, maybe. Or maybe that's happened already. She has him killed, vaporized. So they've got to find the Titan. So she says they've got to go and find. They've already killed him. I think there's just what's left of his chair. To go and find all his friends and his family of Picard, people who he cares about. So that's what they're going to do. Because they're shifty. Right, so this is, there we go. I don't like her, sorry. I know we're not supposed to like her, she's a baddie, but I just don't like the way she's portraying the character. She has no oomph to me. And she never does in any role she plays. I'm just not a fan of Amanda Plummer. Her dad were great, but, she's not her dad. And then meet the titles. There we go, The Bounty. As I explained, we get to see why it's called The Bounty later. Right, so we're on the Titan, and Beverly is explaining that Jack's told her that he's having these visions, the tendrils and the red door. And so she says she did a scan of his brain, and she finds out he's got Irumodic syndrome, which was passed down from Jean-Luc, because he had it. I think that's what eventually killed him in season 1. But now he's in his Nexus 6 body now, isn't it? That comes up again later. I know it's positronic, but he's basically a replicant, isn't it? He's almost human. That's how they describe it, don't they? That's what they said in Blade Runner, didn't they? More human than human. Anyway, so she kind of explains away his visions as part of the Irumodic syndrome. I don't remember Picard having visions like this. I mean, they tried to, in the All Good Things finale, when we found out about his Irumodic syndrome, they thought he was having visions, but it wasn't. It was Q, wasn't it? Playing silly buggers with him. So is it Q playing silly buggers with Jack? I don't know, but they kind of dismiss his visions as part of the Irumodic syndrome. and they got terminal diagnosis, so it's going to kill him. But they said, he can live with it for decades. Picard lived with it until he was bloody 90 something, didn't he? So, Jack could have a long life ahead of him, a long and full life. But he still feels guilty about that. So they're talking about it, So he goes to see Jack, obviously in the 10 forward. This must just be running all the time. This on the holodeck, in the same way that they had I forgot his name now. On Deep Space Nine, they had that holosuite running all the time with Vic's bar running all the time, didn't they? Towards the end of season 7. Vic Fontaine. I've got that CD somewhere. He did a CD, as Vic Fontaine. Did that actor / singer. I actually bought it for my mum, but it's mine now because my mum's passed away. So anyway. Right. So he's feeling sorry for himself. He's having some drinks at the bar. He's got this disease that is going to kill him. And Picard says, well, I learned to live with it. But he's not happy, so he fobs off Picard and storms out. So that doesn't end well. How do they arrive here? Now I can't remember now. How have they got to the Titan? Unless the Titan's has the Titan arrived at Metallus Prime, or has the La Sirena arrived? I can't actually remember. What happens. But anyway, Raffi and Worf beam over to the Titan. It might not explain it, I don't know. They beam over to the Titan, so there's some nice greetings. Worf, he's kind of joking about a bit. He gives Beverly a hug. Raffi, gives a nod to Seven. So, but, anyway, pleasantries are over. They've got to get to Daystrom Station. Here they are. This is the Titan, isn't it? So I don't know where they are here by this star. So they're not at Metallus Prime, are they? And I can't see any. Where's the Sirena? Is it in the shuttle bay? I don't know. Anyway, it goes to warp now. Look, there we go. Off it goes. So I don't know where they came from. I don't know where Raffi and Worf beam from. Anyway, so they're telling them about what they've got to find what was stolen from Daystrom Station apart from the portal weapon. So they've got to go in, but they've got to get past the sophisticated AI security. Apparently there's no people there, but Starfleet security checks it out every so often. So they've got to go in between Starfleet security sweeps. But this AI is what they've got to get past. And remember last episode they got from the Vulcan crime lord. They got the like a chip, like an Asgard data crystal with a with a microchip embedded into it. They got one of those to get through past the security. So they're gonna have. By the way, he's hardly in it this episode. Is Captain Shaw? He doesn't do a lot, and I don't know why people are raving about him. I honestly don't. He's barely in it. So they've got to work out how to get onto Daystrom Station. They've got to, volunteers who's going to go, and they decide it's going to be Riker, Worf, and Raffi. So they're the volunteers to go. That's Raffi showing the Asgard data crystal. I know it's not, but it looks like one, doesn't it? Raffi and Seven. Remember, they used to be partners, and Worf has a joke about going into battle with loved ones, and Seven says, dismisses that, and he says, "All right, well, it's going to be bloody." Anyway, then Riker comes in, but Seven's not going with them anyway. Riker comes in. And they're getting ready to go, and Worf says, this is the bit from the trailer where it says he now prefers pacifism, and Riker says we're all going to die just as they beam out. Right, so they arrive on Daystrom Station. By the way, there doesn't seem to be any passage of time. It's another one where they're just getting places really quickly. And there's another bit where this Daystrom Station must be really close to Athen. Is it Athen Prime, where the Starfleet Fleet Museum is? Because they can get there in less than an hour, can the Titan. So it must be really nearby. I don't know, a neighbouring system, I don't know, that's really close. I think even at Warp 9, even to go like a light year, it'd probably take quite a while. More than an hour, anyway. Anyway, whatever, they get to the station and it scans them and asks for their clearance. So they've got to swap over this crystal, and it works, they get in. You know, it keeps saying, it says, you are unauthorised, you have 30 seconds to do whatever, or you will be killed. Oh, yeah. But Worf does their thing, and it works. They're allowed in. But then we see bits of security footage. We're going to show it. No. But anyway, that was the Titan hiding behind a planetoid. That's Daystrom Station. What we're going to see here. We're just going to see. There's the a planet, a moon. It's like a planetoid, isn't it? Just like regular. It's hiding behind the essentially a rock in space. That's what they're doing. Yeah, Star Trek 2 still, isn't it? Anyway, apparently Starfleet's on its way. I think they detect 2 ships coming. So Picard suggests they go to Athen Prime, the Fleet Museum. So they tell Worf and Riker and Raffi that they're going to Athen Prime. They'll be back in an hour. So it must be really close. But, so that's what they do. Because the other ships, they detect them and they come to two Starfleet ships come and tells us what class they are, and they open fire. So obviously these are under command of changelings, maybe, or they're just duped of Starfleet officers. Because whoever's in charge at Starfleet's probably said, the Titan's gone rogue, bring the ship in. So, but anyway, it jumps to warp and heads to Athen Prime. There it goes. But we know there are changelings here because we see later on. What's happening here? Right, so they're heading into the station. There we go. This is where we see this, the AI watching them, but it's kind of glitchy. I'll probably not be able to catch that in a shot. But they go around looking at the different things that are in there. There's the Genesis device. It says there, look, Genesis device. Jingle jangle. And we see other things. I think we see a tribble. A weird tribble, to be honest. A tribble like we've never seen before. This is what Worf coming up on the tribble. I don't know what this is. I'm trying to work out what this was, and I can't. All right, they've got James T. Kirk's skeleton. I couldn't make it out when I saw it. It was too quick, and I didn't see it. Oh, and you can't see it there, can you? So let me get rid of my head. Can you make it out? Oh, hang on. Let me adjust that. There you go. James T. Kirk. So obviously that's his skeleton. We find out there's another body there later on. Why they've got James T. Kirk's mortal remains there, I don't know, but they've got some other mortal remains. So they're Captain USS, does that say Enterprise? It must do. But yeah, James T. Kirk. They've got his skelly bob. Right, where am I? I'm there, I'm back. And also see a tribble. I might have missed that bit. Oh, there we go. Worf's having a look at a tribble and genetically modified. Oh, that's why. There you go. A predator tribble. Maybe it was designed to help wipe out tribbles. Like in the animated series. they had the Tribble Predator, didn't they, in the original animated series. Maybe it's based on one of those. But obviously it recognises Worf as a Klingon and launches itself, and Riker should have come up and said, "She likes you, Worf. Looks like love at first sight to me." Should have done. That's what I'd have said. Anyway, they carry on in. So there's some nice key jangly bits there. The Genesis device, James T. Kirk, and a Tribble. There might have been other things I can't remember. But the AI's watching them and glitching. We get views that look like, like a Terminator view, and it's like fizzing out and stuff. There we go. And a crow appears. A crow flies into the a holographic crow. Pardon me. And these are clues as to what the AI is. And from the crow, I immediately thought of the TNG 2-parter, which name I can't remember. But the first episode was Data and Dr. Bashir on Deep Space Nine. The Data's exploring his dreams, and he dreams of a crow, and that's instantly what I thought of, and it is a reference to that. Part 2 is where Worf goes, finds the colony of Klingons in Romulan space. It's that, I can't remember the name of it now. No, I can't remember it. I'll find out and I'll put it there, not there, the other side. So anyway, see that. And then some music starts playing. Oh, there we go. There's the activating security measures. There's it glitching out, look. And it starts playing music really loud. In a minute. They don't know what that's all about. But they get in. I know. Then Moriarty appears. But it's not the Moriarty, it turns out. It's just, a representation of Moriarty. So anyways, but it is a hologram as well, obviously. And he's got his gun. And he starts shooting at them. So obviously the safety protocols are off. Or non-existent. But then music starts playing. And, it's a puzzle. It's basically, it's a game, isn't it? It's a level in the Star Trek Picard Season 3 game. The music's playing, but before we get to that part, here's the Titan. It's arriving at Athen Prime. There you go, I'm going to show it. At the Fleet Museum. There we go. So obviously, space dock-like facility, but with these berths dotted around it. And each one, not each one, but most of them house a revered ship. Not all of them Starfleet ships, as we find out. Remember the name of the episode. Can we make any out? There's a Romulan bird of prey there, isn't there? Look. There we go, there's one of them. That looks like the Enterprise A. Stargazer type ship there, maybe. Another Enterprise, another Constitution class there. Don't know what that one is. Too small. But we see like the Defiant and stuff like that. But anyway, we'll get there. So there we go. So we see that. We learn who's in charge of the Fleet Museum. You'd think the Fleet Museum would be at bloody Earth, wouldn't you? But it isn't. Or at least, somewhere in the core worlds. Athen Prime, I've never even heard of it, So you'd think it'd be like Earth or Vulcan or Teller or Andor, one of the core Federation worlds. But it isn't. So anyway, there we go. Commodore Geordie LaForge. I don't know why they brought that rank back, but Commodore Geordie LaForge with his weird sash. Looks like he's getting ready to do a barbecue or something. He should have an apron on, doesn't it? But he doesn't seem happy that they're there. And to be honest, in this episode, Geordie's a bit of a dick. But he comes round by the end. But for a while, it's not a nice Geordie. But saying, what they're doing there is being on the comms to Starfleet. They're telling him that the Titan's gone rogue, basically. And but he's been busy arranging the Frontier Day because earlier on they said what they've got planned is going to coincide with Frontier Day, so it's something to do with that. And it's like 2 days away now. It's like 48 hours away. So they're on the clock. Countdown starting. Anyway, he's saying, George, I need your help. So they beam over Geordie and his other daughter, Alundra Laforge. This one is actually played by LeVar Burton's daughter. So it's a family get together. So anyway, the beam over. Gives Beverly a hug, obviously. But they've got to go and talk. So they go and talk, and kind of blanks Sydney a little bit, because apparently they don't get on, because I don't think he's happy that she became a pilot rather than becoming an engineer, but they don't get on. And so Jack, I think there seems to be a bit of shipping going on between Jack and Sydney in this episode, but they seem to get close. Anyway, so they're talking about Picard's explaining what's going on about the changelings and all that. But LaForge is not happy because Picard's put his daughter in danger. And, Picard tries to explain, she's a Starfleet officer, she knows what she's doing. But he kind of doesn't want to know, so he doesn't want to help because he doesn't want to put his family in danger. He said, all those years I followed you into danger, and now you expect others to do it, and he's not prepared to let his family be killed. But anyway, meanwhile, back at Daystrom Station, these are the Starfleet ships that are patrolling. But here we go. They're trying to get past this Moriarty hologram. But keep hearing this music, and Riker they keep hearing the tone, and Riker keeps saying, no, F sharp, C flat, whatever. I don't know. I'm not musical. But this is to do in the end credits. Remember we see the musical notes. It's that, and it turns out it's Pop Goes the Weasel. So we have some little flashbacks of when Riker first met Data on the holodeck on the Enterprise D, way back in Encounter at Farpoint, when Data were trying to whistle Pop Goes the Weasel. And he couldn't do it. He couldn't get the last part. And Riker finishes it off, and so he whistles. And that switches off the Moriarty hologram. Because for reasons. But it does anyway. Doesn't really make a huge amount of sense, but as I said, this is the there we go. Here's the flashback look of him on the holodeck in a young Riker there. So that's when he remembers. So there you go. That's him whistling it, and it deactivates the Moriarty hologram. So they can access the core now of Daystrom Station. But meanwhile, back at Athens Prime. Is this the bit where... No, not yet. Picard's still trying to talk LaForge into helping them, but he's not having any of it. So we cut to... hang on. Oh, yes. Alundra tells Sydney that he doesn't want to help, so she's going to go in and have words with her dad. Meanwhile, Seven's having a look at some of the ships that are at... Daystrom Station, Athens Prime, the Fleet Museum. So we have some more key jangly. There we go. So there's the Defiant. Remember the Defiant class, USS Defiant. Remember, it's not the Defiant though, because I was thinking something happens in a little while where I'm thinking, why didn't they just do this? I'll explain it when we get there. But there is a reason why they didn't. I don't know if they realised that when they were writing this, but we'll see. So look at some others. There we go. There's the Enterprise A. Well, you can't see it properly there, can you? There we go. Let's have another. There you go. There's the Enterprise A. Kirk's ship. Move that back over a bit. And Jack says that's his favourite, because a lot of people say the Enterprise A, the refit Constitution class, is their favourite design, and it is a great ship, isn't it? Jack says that's his favourite, and Seven seems thinks it's weird that he likes starships, and he says, yeah, I've always liked starships, just because I'm not in Starfleet doesn't mean I don't like starships. So this is a reference to what they call starship porn, I suppose. Everybody likes starships, don't they? Well, nerds do anyway. So it's like showing that Jack's a bit of a nerd. And then we look at one more. We're going to see it here now. We're going to show us one last one to look at. Actually, no, it might not be actually. I think we see two more. Come on, show us it. I think we see a Klingon bird of prey. Come on, show us. Is it? We see that first, I think. Oh, for God's sake. Never mind looking at them. Show us the bloody ship. Christ almighty. But there we go. Oh, God, we got there in the end. There we go. Klingon bird of prey. And Seven says it's the HMS Bounty. Remember from Star Trek 4. They acquired it at the end of Star Trek 3. And Jack knows, the whale, the whale incident where they got the whales. And apparently it was fished out of San Francisco Bay. And she says it took them a long time to find it because somehow the cloaking device had activated. And it took them a long time to find it, but eventually they did. So it's there in the Fleet Museum. The Klingon bird of prey that Kirk and his crew got at the end of Star Trek 3 and used to get to time travel back to the 20th century to get George and Gracie, two humpback whales, back to the 23rd century to send the whale probe packing. There you go. So that's there. And then they have one more ship to have a look at after they're talking about it. By the way, all these ships seem to be, they're all lit up, aren't they? They've all got the warp engines glowing and all lights on. I thought you'd think they'd be deactivated, wouldn't you? Anyway, so back at Daystrom Station, there we go. We find that it's all Data stuff. So we see Data there, or Brent Spiner, and we see B4's head. And it turns out what's happened. I can't remember his name. The Soong, who we saw in season 1 of Picard, who created Picard's positronic body, he calls it his golem. He appears as a hologram in a minute. He was trying to put all of the different Data personalities, like Data and Lore and B4, into one body, but it was unsuccessful. The different the different personalities couldn't gel. But they're all in there, but it's never been activated because he couldn't get it to work properly. And this is a new Data body, similar to Picard. So there's almost human. There's a Nexus 6 Data. But anyway, but it's deactivated. But they need to activate him because he's got all they're using him as the AI, which is why we saw the Crow and Moriarty, because Moriarty was an opponent worthy of beating Data in the Elementary Dear Data episode. So Data is the AI, but is activated as the AI security for the system, but he can't walk and talk and stuff like that. He's just basically plugged in. But they need to access his systems to find out what was stolen. There's B4's head. I don't know why his head's there. I mean, he was at the Daystrom Institute in Japan, wasn't he, in season 1? So why he's there now, I've no idea. But, well, yeah, I do know why, because he was the Soong that we saw were trying to incorporate all their matrices, wasn't he? There we go, so he appears there, look. He looks totally different to how we saw him in Picard season 1, but never mind. So he's explaining that. Here's the Titan pretending to be one of the ships, docked at in the museum. So Geordie still doesn't want to know. So Picard says, can't force him, basically. So that was soon telling him, that he never got it to work. But they're going to have to try and activate him. Because Starfleet's, on their tail now. They're approaching, and Riker tries to contact the Titan, but obviously they're not there because they need to beam out. So Riker says, I'll deal with this, but they're still at Atham Prime because Geordie's farting about. Sydney comes in, she tries to talk sense to him, but he doesn't want to know. She's telling him, she's Starfleet, she saw a changeling, that were mimicking her, they need to do something about it. But Geordie's being a dick. Anyway, they've got to get back to the Daystrom station. Yes. Meanwhile, Sydney and Alundra and Jack are wondering how can they get there without being seen. And then they realise they saw the Klingon bird of prey, which has a cloaking device, remember? So they've got to somehow... I thought they were all going to pile into the bird of prey and take that, but no, they steal the cloaking device from the Klingon bird of prey, and I don't know how they got there, because you think people would be saying, unauthorised transport or unauthorised shuttles left the wherever, but no. But they do. They steal the cloaking device from the Klingon bird of prey, from the Bounty. Name of the episode, remember? From the Bounty, and install it into the Titan. And initially I was thinking, why didn't they just take the Defiance? Because they were having problems, incorporating it with Federation, Starfleet technology. And I thought, why don't they take the Defiance cloaking device? And I remembered, more straight away, it's not the Defiant, is it? It was the Sao Paulo, wasn't it? The Defiant, the original Defiant, which had the cloaking device, was destroyed, wasn't it? By the Breen Dominion fleet. So I don't think the Sao Paulo had a cloaking device. So there we go. Which was rechristened the Defiant because they had the models and CG models of the Defiant, so they couldn't change it for some, I don't know. But it was renamed the Defiant, along with the NX registry for some reason. You thought they'd just change that to NCC, wouldn't you, afterwards? But never mind. So anyway, that's what they do. They take the cloaking device from the Klingon bird of prey. There was also a Romulan bird of prey there, so there would be a cloaking device in there as well, wouldn't there? We saw it. Anyway, they activate data. But not yet. Starfleet's on its way. They've got to get out of there now because I think they're rumbled. I think Starfleet's coming. And then the ship cloaks. There you go, it shows it there, cloaking. There you go, that's 7 telling them we're cloaked. I think we get a view outside. I'm trying to find the shot outside. And so Geordie's not happy, look. I told you he's a bit of a dick in this episode. What have you done? And they realise it's Jack and Sydney. He thinks Jack, Geordie thinks Sydney. Come on, show us it from outside. It's not going to bloody show it, is it? Never mind. And here's Sydney and Jack trying to get it to work. So Geordie arrives and the help get it working properly. And here we go. So off they go. There you go. Oh, just saw it just reappearing then, didn't you? Oh, about me. Go on, back a bit more. Go on, a bit more. Go on. This stupid technology, isn't it? Come on, show it. The cloak. Oh, for God's sake! You can see it there. Look, it's shimmering. But they get it working anyway. So I think this is when LaForce changes his mind. He sees that Sydney's, she's stubborn and she's going to stick to her guns. He says, "Call Mom." So obviously his wife's there on the Athens Prime Fleet Museum. So we'll not be home for dinner. So they're going to go rushing off into danger again. So meanwhile, back at they've got to last an hour now, haven't they? An hour, well, less than an hour, a few minutes anyway. They've got to last, let's say, half an hour against Starfleet, haven't they? Starfleet security, because they beam over the Starfleet officers. Here we go. They see it on the security cameras there. Starfleet officers have arrived. Obviously, the Titan's not back yet, so Riker says, "I'll handle this." Hang on, gone too far. Look. "I'll handle this." So goes out and starts shooting at them. Let's come back a little bit more. There you go. You saw the Titan decloaking. Because apparently, don't know why, this doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. We're told that the Titan's got to decloak to beam the people from the station. Why? Why have they got to decloak to do that? I don't know. I don't think they have to decloak to fire weapons, don't they? Did Birds of Prey? But I don't know why they have to decloak to beam people. I'm sure that's not been done before. I'm sure we know because in the episode Unification they took a Klingon bird of prey to Romulus, didn't they? And it was obviously they had to keep it cloaked all the time. And Picard and Data beamed up and down to Romulus, didn't they, in that episode? So they know they can beam through a cloak. Probably easier because they don't have shields, do they, when the cloak's activated? They're nitpicks to me, and it takes away my enjoyment of it a little bit, and it deducts points. Anyway, here's the Titan arriving, and they've got to decloak to beam them aboard. They don't have to, but they do. Meanwhile, Riker's fighting against the Starfleet security. Is he by himself? There's his bridge crew. There's nobody there, look. Tell them to beam him aboard. So they beam over, but obviously not Riker. But they beam over Raffi and Worf and Data. So there we go. Because what we saw him shooting fighting against the Starfleet security, and then he gets hit by something that does a weird thing. And turned out that was a transport inhibitor thing that so they couldn't beam him. They couldn't beam him away. So they've lost Riker for the moment, but they've got Data with them. And then Geordi gets all misty-eyed because Data recognises him, and he says Geordi. So he gets all. Anyway, they've headed to warp. It's another thing. Don't like this warp effect. Why didn't they just go back to proper warp effects like we saw in the Berman era? That's just too Kurtzman Trek for me. Don't like it. Too Star Wars. Anyway, so here we go. They're talking about this and that. Worf saying he will go and find Riker. So he's going on a mission to find Riker. So that's what's happening there. I can't remember what Jack's talking about there. I honestly can't remember. I watched this not so long ago, and honestly I can't remember what they're talking about. It'll come to me. Oh yes, I remember now. Jack's telling him about his own personality, and that he gets a lot of it from his mum. But he says I can be wise and stuff like that, and courageous and things, and he gets that, he thinks, from somewhere else, obviously referring to Picard. So that's that. So another little bit of bonding between them, I suppose. There he's with glowing eyes. I'm sure he's a Goa'uld from Stargate, but never mind. So that's a little bit of another re-bonding session. He apologises for his the way he was in the bar earlier on. But that's it. They don't mention he doesn't have the visions again in this episode. So is that done with now? I don't know. We'll see, I suppose. Well, that just is Iromodic syndrome manifesting. But what's all this find me crap? You know, is it going to happen again? I don't know. Right, what's happening? This Geordie going on about something again. I think they reactivate. Oh, he's on about what she's like. But they're getting to know each other. You know, they love each other. It's family, and it's all about family. Why? That was a thing that Sydney told LaForge earlier on, that Starfleet are a family. You know, he's trying to save his family. You know, his two daughters, his Geordie. But he says, my crew and my family, and it were mentioned, in previous episodes of this season one that Starfleet crews are family, essentially. So anyway, so here we go. So they reactivate Data. And we see that he has multiple personalities. So we get a bit of Data, mostly Data, a little bit of Law, and a little bit of B4. It seems mostly Data. Data seems to be the dominant personality, thank goodness. But how long that lasts, I don't know. I think Law might go on a bit of a rampage eventually. We've seen it in the trailer, haven't we? We've seen something happen with Law later. So I think this might be where Geordie tears up a bit when Data recognises him. As we'll see. There you go, I think he says there, Geordie. You ready? There you go, Geordie. There we go. There he is. Look, he's tearing up his Geordie. Because Data was his best friend, remember? There he is, look, tearing up. Bless him. Bless his heart. Anyway, they've got to find out what was stolen from the station. So before that, we get little snippets of Law and B4. But he does access the data and finds out what was stolen. And then he turns into an R2 unit. Are we going to see this now? Let's just see this. There we go. Something we never knew Data could do. I mean, can Picard do this? Because remember, it's a similar body to Picard's. So let's just let me go back a bit more. You ready? See, we need to find out what's at the stations. Here we go. Turns into an R2 unit. There we go. Can Picard do that? So beaming out a hologram of what was stolen from Daystrom Station. And there we go. It's human remains. And it turns out the changelings have stolen Jean-Luc Picard's remains. For what reason? I have no idea. I don't know. But there we go. So there you go. The image clears up. And we see there it is, look. It's a wrinkly old Patrick Stewart, a dead one. So obviously they got his body from where all the androids were. Don't call them AIs, where all the AIs were. So they've got his body, so that were on Daystrom Station. But now the changelings have it for some reason. Anyway, then we cut back to Daystrom. And Riker's been beaten up, being questioned, so they keep punching him. And says he's not going to talk. And then the person who was doing the punching turns around and shoots the other Starfleet officers that were with him. And then, there you go. That's a changeling. It transforms into, into Vadik. And she just smiles and take Riker. Says, I'm still not going to talk. So they take him away and say, yes, I think I will. Knock him about a little bit more. I've still no idea what these are supposed to be. I'm sure Terry Metalis knows. But he says, I'll not talk, he'll have to kill me. And I said, no, we won't have to kill you. We'll just kill other people that you care about. And then we see that they've got Deanna. So there you go. Have they got his daughter as well? I don't know. Didn't say that. She just went, oh, Will, because she can't act. That's the best she can do. And then the episode ends. So I think we saw, then the episode ends. So I think we saw all the Next Generation crew, didn't we, in one episode? Yay, finally. We got them all. Apart from Tasha Yar. But there we go. So the end of that episode. It was a good episode. I did enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as the others. It was a bit too key jangly member berries for me. A bit too much of it. And it put me off. Plus I don't like the ships just warping and stopping on a dime. I don't like that. They should drop out of warp and glide into where they're going to dock or wherever. Shouldn't they? They shouldn't just boom, appear like that. But never mind. But anyway, yeah. But I still enjoyed it. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Like I said, last week's I think I gave last week's a 10, didn't I? Previous one a 9, I think. But this one's just going to get an 8. But I did enjoy it. And as I said, the plot's moving forward. But I'm not sure about these visions of Jack's. Is that done with now? I don't know. Is it Iremodic syndrome? I thought it was supposed to be a deeper story. Or is it going to, resurface later? I don't know. Speaking of cloaking device, there it is. That's the Klingon cloaking device there. In the end credits. And there's DNA. I've been through this. I've got a video about these end credits. Oh, there we go. There's the Pop Goes the Weasel. Anyway. There's Positronic Net. And there's the Titan. Is that damage? Don't know. But yeah, that's it. It was a good episode. I did enjoy it. And it did move the story forward with 48 hours away in the story from whatever the changelings are going to do. So we're on a ticking clock now. They've got Riker. They've got Deanna. Have they got the daughter as well? I don't know. Didn't show that. I bet they haven't. They'll say something like, "Oh, she was away at school or whatever, she was with my parents or whatever. I don't know. On Beta Z, they'll say that she wasn't there when they came for me. They'll say that. But how's Data going to be? I don't know. It was nice to see him being Data, and it was nice that it looked different and he didn't look like Data, because in season 1 he looked weird. And they did have to CG his hairline, didn't they? Because it looked totally weird originally, and they CG'd his hairline to look a bit more natural. But it was still odd to see him looking like that. But now they've aged him up, thankfully. He's got a new Nexus 6 body, like Picard, with holographic eyes or whatever. I bet Picard's thinking, "Oh, can I do that?" Anyway, I thought it was supposed to be almost human. That must be the part of him that's not almost human. But anyway, we'll leave it there. So I did enjoy it, but it wasn't the best. A bit too much member berries key jangly. We all like that sort of thing, but sometimes they can go too far, can't they? But, it was cool. It was cool. I enjoyed it. An 8 out of 10 is a good score, and I did enjoy it. And I look forward to what happens next week. How many episodes we got left now? That was 6, wasn't it? So that's 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 episodes left. So we'll see what happens. No doubt they will save the day. Right, so we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.